right. Thank you so much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are calling from across the globe. My name is Claude Kasonka, and I would just like to welcome you all to the last and closing session of the week on water for development. I should say that we are very proud and delighted to see that you accompanied us throughout the past 5 thematic days with such a great attendance and enthusiasm. We'd like to look back with you on the highlights and contents of our virtual conference that we've just had throughout the week. And therefore, Dr. Angela Langenkamp, the GIZ Gender Commissioner and Officer for Equal Opportunities, is joining us right now. She holds a PhD in geography and draws her experience from over 30 years of work in development cooperation, half of the time located in sub-Saharan Africa. Ms. Langenkamp oversees the implementation of GIZ's gender strategy, leading the internal GIZ gender network, and providing strategic and managerial advice to the board of directors. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me at this point to give the floor, the virtual floor, to Ms. Langenkamp. Ms. Langenkamp, the floor is yours now.
Thank you very much. I hope you can see me. If I see a nod, I know I'm on. Okay, gorgeous. Thanks so much for inviting me. It's a big honor to be with you. And in a second, I'll get started. Well, on behalf of the GIZ, our partners and co-conveners, I would like to thank all of you for the past 5 remarkable days. As GIZ Gender Commissioner, I was introduced and I'm honored to deliver the closing remarks for this exceptional event under the motto, "Every drop counts, water in exceptional times, from COVID-19 to climate change." And I would like to add what Dr. Flaxbart and today's speakers underlined, from menstrual health to equal opportunities for men and women. Water is key to our lives, our future. The week on water for development pays tribute to that. The global pandemic has taken a toll on global development and thus on worldwide development cooperation. Lockdowns and restrictions on movements locally and internationally have curbed human interaction and forced communication into the virtual space. However, the 5 days have shown that the international water sector, managed to adapt to these exceptional circumstances. I believe that over the last 5 days, you all had productive discussions, forged new partnerships, and joined hands to spur action. Just as hydrogen bonds water molecules together, sharing innovative solutions and debating approaches strengthens cross-sectoral cohesion and cooperation. Let's reveal some of the facts and highlights presented by 77 conveners from 20 countries in 34 sessions. Speakers included experts from multilateral and UN organizations, international financial institutions, academia, civil society, government institutions, water operators, and the private sector. So much from the supply side. Regarding the demand side, ladies and gentlemen, over 2,000 participants attended the thematic sessions in total. Overall, very impressive numbers. My congratulations. Let's start from Monday. On Monday, Vera Scholz, the Director of Climate Change, Environment and Infrastructure within GIZ, had opened the Week on Water for Development and setting the scene for the thematic first day dedicated to water and climate change, the UN Water Annual Topic for 2020. The British high-level climate action champion, Nigel Topping, left us with a new allegory. If climate change is a shark, then water is its teeth. Quite fittingly, his keynote was followed by the launch of the study Stop Floating, Start Swimming, prepared on behalf of the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, the BMZ, produced by the Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research, GIZ, and Adelphi. Based on a specific analysis on water and climate interactions, the report recommends new and innovative approaches for enhancing climate resilience through water action. It also advocates to tap into the vast, yet often untapped potential water has to offer for climate mitigation. The other 4 sessions of the day highlighted the greenhouse gas emissions reducing potential in the water and wastewater sector and the potential of digital tools to achieve climate-smart utilities. Finally, Mr. Stratenwert, the head of the division at the BMU, called on all of us with the straightforward words, "There's no excuse for us water people to shy away from climate mitigation action." And that's what we should take away from Monday. Let's move on to Tuesday, a day dedicated to finance and good governance in the water sector. Are we paying for sustainable service delivery and not just hard work? Asked Louis Borston, Managing Director of the Osprey Foundation, as he opened the second thematic day of this week. 6 sessions followed, dived into the manifold array of finance instruments. They ranged from poor subsidies to results-based financing for household sanitation, always keeping in mind that simple financing mechanisms are not the way to go, but that one-size-fits-all solutions do not exist. The World Bank estimates that the financial gap to provide access to safe water and sanitation amounts to over $116 billion. $116 billion. However, session outcomes outlined that more than just large sums of money are needed to achieve SDG 6. It needs people and it needs decisive action. Solutions that were presented include a transition to local currency financing of investments, a strategic agenda to change the incentives of key actors to increase lending and borrowing in local currency, coordination and harmonization platforms at country level, financial instruments that focus on improvements of service providers and financial wizards that can navigate the complexities of different institutions and their instruments. These are just a few I'd like to mention. Before I move on to Wednesday, a day leaving us halfway through the Water Week, when the director of the German Development Institute, Dr. Anna-Katharina Hornitsch, kickstarted the day by remarking on conflict mediation potential that lies in integrated water resource management. In 6 sessions, because I wasn't part of the discussions, covered the links between water resources, urban planning, and biodiversity, and considered daring approaches such as the natural resource stewardship and the water-energy-food nexus. Key takeaways of the day, I was told, include the notion that working with the private sector in multi-stakeholder partnerships can be a real catalyst for sustainable economic growth, and I believe in it. On Thursday, then, the day centered around the thematic areas of WASH and utilities, with a strong focus on the 2 currently most burning issues, climate change and pandemic diseases. The launch of the report towards inclusive green city sanitation for Lusaka, achievements and the way forward brought forward much needed learnings from Zambia. Investing in climate resilient infrastructure and in service provisions is key to sustainable sanitation for all. This, however, is only achievable through collaborative cross-sectoral efforts among all stakeholders, including the private sector. Another highlight of the day was a session on neglected tropical diseases, during which the Director General of the BMZ, Birgit Pickel, remarked the utmost importance of inclusive access to safe WASH services in light of the pandemic. Participants also learned about their One Health approach, which underlines the importance of cross-sectoral collaboration in order to achieve better health outcomes for all. And the BMZ actually took it very serious. And in order to focus stronger on the One Health and pandemic prevention, they restructured their own divisions and created one division, one department more or less that really focuses on One health issues, and looking at water in the same context and under the same umbrella, institutional umbrella. Now, coming back to the final day today, dedicated to water, integrity, and equity. Without safe drinking water, adequate sanitation and hygiene facilities at home and in places of work and education, it is disproportionately harder for women and girls to lead safe, productive, and healthy lives. Making life better for girls and women in Nepal, month after month, was the title of one of the contributions to this year's gender competition. And I hope you can all see the roll up behind me. They were there to present their approach, and it was on display during the award ceremony. And like many of today's inputs, it highlighted the fact that the lack of or poor access to affordable menstrual products, water, and sanitary facilities not only negatively impact on girls' and women's health, but undermines their participation in education, economic, and public life, and thus impacting their access to equal opportunities and rights. Poor access, however, is not only defined by scarce water resources as such, but also the manifold risks women and girls are exposed to every day when collecting water, at least in some areas, as also Regner, Deputy Executive Director for Normative Support, UN System Coordination and Program Results of UN Women, rightly highlighted this morning. On this last day, 4 sessions about equity and integrity for all underscored that water plays a central role in women's life, and that women play a central role in safeguarding and achieving SDG 6, particularly in light of the current global pandemic. Thus, be it as a parent, teacher, health professional, community activist or guardian, as an engineer, a local government worker or minister, you name it. Women, just like men, are not just affected by, but active change makers of our times. We all must recognize and pay tribute to this reality. Securing equal participation of women and men in decision, planning, design, and implementation processes in the water sector is an issue of justice and a sustainable future for all. Now let me wrap up. Not being at home in the water sector, but being aware of the central importance water plays in our lives, I'm truly inspired by the multitude of topics, actors, and projects that have been discussed during the last week. I'm also inspired by the participative nature of the discussions and inputs, the openness for new approaches and lessons learned from other sectors. Having said this, I would like to thank the GIZ Sector Program on Water and Sanitation, who commissioned and funded by the BMZ initiated this week. A special thanks goes to you, the whole organizing team of Matthias Görres, Nina Flohr, and Franziska Scholl, the sector programs on water and sanitation, and the global program of Sanitation for Millions, who have done an excellent job in bringing you all together, preparing for and facilitating this week. I would especially like to thank the partners and conveners, the panelists, our keynote speakers, and all participants who filled this week on water with content, discussion, and new ideas. Led by our corporate vision, we work to shape a future worth living around the world. I hope you will take some of the inspiration, new ideas, and networks with you and build on them. Together, we can make SDG 6 become a reality, and as GIZ Gender Commissioner, I have to add SDG 5 too. Have a good weekend from my side. Stay healthy, stay safe. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Langenkamp. Fantastic. You've done very well. Thank you for this concise review and the intriguing throwbacks to the past week. As we have seen during the past 5 days, the water sector faces tremendous challenges. But we are also introduced to the many innovative solutions that are being developed to tackle these. As just stressed by Ms. Langenkamp, when working together, regardless of traditional silos, different stakeholder types and borders, we can solve many of the current problems. We might feel like a drop in the ocean when fighting alone, but these little drops can complement each other, creating a powerful wave and change the world into a water secure one. Please let us keep the motto of this conference in mind: every drop counts. We are thus very happy that so many of you joined our virtual conference, connected, and learned from one another. We are sure that some of these little drops found like-minded ones, and that this conference could be the spring for a stream running irresistibly towards the achievement of SDG 6. Ladies and gentlemen, now we would like to conclude the week on water development with a closing address by Birgit Pickel, Deputy Director General of the German Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development. All the best to all of you. Stay healthy and be hydrated. Thank you.
Water is crucial for our everyday lives. Water is essential for drinking water, sanitation and hygiene services, and thus for our healthy development. Water is the basis for functioning ecosystems. Water is the key ingredient for food production, but also to produce energy, textiles or electronics. Finally, water is the sector through which climate change will have the most direct impact on our lives, our ecosystems and the economy. The bottom line is, water is important. I'm therefore pleased that since the 1st of August of this year, BMZ has established a dedicated division on water, sanitation and hygiene, placed in the new Directorate Global Health, Pandemic Prevention and One Health. The promotion of water security is one of the main objectives of our BMZ water strategy. Our strategy stresses the important role of water for reaching the goals of the Agenda 2030, the Paris Agreement on Climate Change, and the global biodiversity targets. It reflects the huge demand in our partner countries for support. The Week on Water for Development, with the motto "Every drop counts, water in exceptional times, from COVID-19 to climate change," illustrates the importance of water. During the last week, we saw an inspiring keynote by UK's climate change champion Nigel Topping and the launch of the path-breaking report Stop Floating, Start Swimming. We learned that we need 3 times the investment of the past if we want to achieve the targets of SDG 6. We were reminded that immediate measures to combat the COVID-19 pandemic are important, such as the establishment of hand-washing facilities. But going forward, we need to increase our efforts to build strong institutions, proper regulations, and functioning processes to ensure water and sanitation services for all. We are left with the task to better utilize systemic approaches and consider interlinkages between different sectors. Let me finish by thanking the more than 70 conveners, presenters, and panelists who participated in 34 sessions during this week. I express a big thank you to the more than 2,000 participants who contributed to the discussions. Finally, I thank the GIZ for the initiative to organize this virtual week. I look forward to dive deeper into the water, sanitation, and hygiene topics in the coming months and years and continue the good cooperation with all our partners. The best wishes to all of you. Stay healthy and stay safe.